Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 138th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by the amazing Spider-Man Defence Force, Jaden.
Hello.
Hello, and, of course, we have our resident Irish citizen, a.k.a. Fitzy, a.k.a. Liam.
Hello.
Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday, and this week, that movie is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which opened in the US on the 21st of December 2011. It was directed by mega friend of the show. He needs like some sort of Discord tier status, different category than just friend of the show at this point. We got David Fincher.
We've
done a fair few.
We did
right?
Mank, and that's it.
Gone Girl.
And Gone Girl, sorry. Oh, yeah.
Was there not another one? There was another one.
No,
I think there was.
We just talk about him a lot in like our highlights and whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
maybe you're right.
We just gush about him
Yeah,
a bit.
because we talked about him a lot in highlights. Maybe I'm just getting that mixed up. Okay, yeah. But either way, yeah. Comes up all the time, of course.
I mean,
it's
3 isn't too bad. Oh, Alien 3.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I knew it. Thank you.
Good on.
Yeah. Well, it's not a good one, but
You know, it's funny.
Does
I
that really count?
Dude, I had a fucking dream last night that I was forcing you, Liam, to rewatch Alien 3, but the proper one. I shit you not. I don't know why that was on my mind. Maybe
That's
Fincher was on
fine.
my mind. But
was it a nightmare?
Huh? No, it's great
Was
because
it a
he loved it. He was like, "Oh, this is so much better."
Right.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't finish the dream.
I love getting a glimpse into your subconscious there, Jaden. That's fantastic. This film, though, is a mystery drama, and the synopsis says journalist Mikhail Blomkvist. Is that what you said?
Blomkvist.
What Jane said, is aided in his search for a woman who has been missing for 40 years by young computer hacker Lisbeth Salander. Very nice. Name, and it's going to continue to happen throughout this episode, I apologise. The name Lisbeth throws me off because I just want to say Elizabeth every time, but it's not. It's a trick. All right. Girl with a Dragon Tattoo. Do I want to start with the first time viewing or the repeat? Let's start with Fitzy. Fitzy, you haven't seen this film. What did you think of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo?
I thought it was pretty good. Pretty great. Good to great. It was pretty engaging throughout. It was a lot weirder than I thought it would be. There's a lot more disturbing than I thought it would be. Like a lot less of a conventional, mystery procedure kind of thing. Especially with Lisbeth's character. She was very like unexpected shit happened with her, so that was interesting. But yeah, I think overall it was pretty cool. It definitely like when the premise is kind of like you're gonna meet the guy's family and that you're gonna kind of go deeper and deeper through that way. I thought it'd be more like meeting a lot of people and like kind of. I don't know, it's just different than I thought it'd be. But there's a lot more investigation. There's a lot more digging up of files and stuff, which is cool. But it's just not what I expected, but it's still good. So, yeah, it was a good bit.
Plenty of analysing old photographs, looking for clues in them. Yeah, plenty of that.
Detective.
Yes, absolutely. I also hadn't seen the film. I'm pretty much right there with you, Fitzy, by the sounds of it. Like I liked it quite a bit, mainly because it feels like pure gloves off Fincher, just doing his thing, directing a super suspenseful Fincher-ass movie, like only he can. So, I mean, that was great. There are some really killer scenes as well, some really well-acted, written and shot scenes that we'll talk about. But I don't know, I'm there with the good to great comment because I'm just like, I have some reservations a little bit. I don't know if I can like wholeheartedly commit to being like, this is a great movie. Like,
is it because you lost track of the names?
Definitely. The subtitles helped. Hang on, where did you guys watch this?
Prime.
What was that? Did you guys have the subtitles bleeping out certain words?
Oh yeah, I had that. But that was like swear words. I don't think so.
But it didn't bleep out, dude. The subtitles bleeped out sex and sexual and any reference to that word. But it didn't bleep out fuck. It just said fuck.
I don't think mine did that.
It was the weirdest shit. It was the weirdest shit. Anyway, that was like my highlight of the movie. But so yeah, I don't know. There's little things, names notwithstanding. Although Jan's always fair to comment on that with me. But Jan, you've seen the film. What did you think of it on this rewatch?
Yeah, I thought it was great. It was borderline like watching it the first time because it has been a while since I've seen it, and quite a lot of it was gone from memory. Like for the longest time, I was wondering like how the hell do they tie Elizabeth into this, and she's like so fucking separate at the moment. But then she rocks up, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. So there was a lot of like watching like it was new again. But so that was fun at least. I don't like I mean like amongst Fincher's filmography and amongst his detectives filmography and all that shit, like, I don't think it's up there with Seven. I think it's close, but not really. It's more Gone Girl tier for me, but better than Gone Girl, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I know I love it. I love the Swedish Winter. I love the characters and the mystery, and I love what it ends up being. What it resolves to, rather.
We'll need to talk about that for sure. Do you know how? One of the choices that struck me immediately was the fact that I know this is based on a book, which was then adapted into a Swedish film, right? Which then was remade into this. So there's a lot going on there with the history of this source material. But what struck me immediately was the choice to have maintain the setting, to have the Hollywood remake still be. It's still in Sweden and everyone's still Swedish and they all have the same names. Like, do you know how common that is, Jaden? Like, because I just thought it struck me immediately as like I feel like often they'd like change this to like I don't know, be like Chicago or something. You know what I mean?
Couldn't tell you.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I feel like now that you mention it, it feels like the more common path would be to westernize it, but
yeah, for sure.
I know.
Train to New York or whatever that is in that movie coming out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's everything like Old Boy changes everything to be American, I'm pretty sure. And like Let Me In obviously changes everything to be American.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
No, yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was cool though, because I think what you said about the Swedish Winter is spot on in terms of I think it adds a lot to the film. The setting is I just find it interesting, you know. If I don't know, like no offense, I've seen a lot of American cities in these goddamn movies, you know what I mean? Fincher's own movies, like I don't need. I just think it adds a little extra flair to it. And I have in the trivia that this was like the coldest winter in like years in Sweden, and I felt it on the screen, so that added a lot to it for me for sure. But I mean, with that shivering, yeah.
Were you in like in real life? Were you like, you know?
No, but I'd like to say it was. Were you?
No, I've obviously fucking not.
No, but I'd like to think you were wearing your blanket though when you were watching it.
I mean, it was pretty cold last night for a summer. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe that added a little bit. But with that though, I've got to ask about these goddamn European accents. Fitzy, what's your take on specifically? I think who's doing them? It's Rooney Mara and Robin Wright who are mainly attempting these.
Pretty much everyone apart from Craig, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, some of them are Swedish, I guess.
Right. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is there another one? Those are the two standout, like, just American people attempting a Swedish accent, I think.
Plummer, a bit, I guess.
Was he? Do you reckon he was?
I think he had a little bit going on. But it's one of those things that you discussed, like, way, like, each shows ago, like, yeah, is he doing an accent or is that just how he is now?
Yeah, I've got no idea. That's totally true. Yeah, it might have been. But yeah, how do we feel about the accents?
I don't know. So was Robin Wright, was she supposed to be Swedish? Is that what it was?
Yes.
Oh,
They were all meant to be Swedish.
Were they? Because I didn't know if it was set in like London or what. Because I was like, okay, Robin Wright's obviously got some weird accent going on, but I don't know what the hell it is.
I think that's how everyone who's Swedish watching it felt. Because
Yeah.
I read they caught some criticism that like the accents just all the Swedish people just thought the accent, and I mean actually I'm not an expert on accents, but I sort of agree where like the accents just sound vaguely Russian.
Yeah, well, I didn't know what girl with dragon tattoo Elizabeth was either.
Swedish.
They're just Swedish. They're all the Swedish. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, accents, bit weird. Not gonna lie.
But like, just in the trivia that you're reading, I'm sure you would have seen that like Craig himself said, "No, that's a wank." So he just like kept his original accent.
He literally said, "Mate, I don't understand why my cast members are doing this. This is stupid. I'm just gonna not do it." Which is great, by the way. I don't need... Dude, how distracting would it have been Daniel Craig doing a weird accent for 2 hours and 40 minutes? Thank God.
Oh, yeah. There's never been a detective film where Craig's done that. Like a weird accent.
Yeah. I feel like if Craig attempted it, it would come off as like South African or something like that, you know?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway, that was a bit random. I was trying to articulate this properly. Sort of sticking with the winter idea. Why don't we for a little bit? I thought I want to ask you guys to partake in this conversation, in this topic. That will probably fall flat on its face, but I wanted to try. I wanted to see if we can come to a conclusion on this. Fincher's cinematography and grading are some of the most, probably the single most contributor to his tone as a filmmaker overall. And I love it always. Love it in this movie. I wrote down Jeff Cronenweth, one of the two. Jeff shot this film, longtime collaborator of Fincher, shot all your favorite Fincher films. So, and he did a great job as always. But I want to know, Fitzy, for you, first of all, do you agree that there is a unifying quality to the look of all of Fincher's films? And if you were to try and describe it, how would you do so, or could you?
Okay.
We're going deep, boys.
I don't know if there. I don't think there really is. I don't know. What do you think?
I think there definitely is. Not that they all look the same. I'm not saying that, but I think there's an atmosphere that he always brings to the films that feels similar as an audience member, but still feels like it's slightly tweaked or catered to the story or the setting in a minor way. And the word, I think I used it on Gone Girl. The word I always come back to is cold or icy. His films look. It's sort of the word I come back to. But I wanted to ask, because I don't feel like that does, and that's great for this film, for the exteriors and the cold ass Sweden, which we talked about, but it doesn't really do justice to some of the other interiors and plenty of other lighting setups that they have. That the cold isn't right to describe them, but there's a sharpness to the image. I don't know what it is. Jaden, do you have any thoughts?
Well, I disagreed with your statement when you said it at first, but then I had a quick peek. And I think Mank's probably like the main outlier in this, but if you look at the rest of them, like, I think you are right. Actually, I haven't seen Benjamin Button, but I assume that kind of is an outlier as well.
It is, yeah.
Best thing I can think of is like an urban grit. It's all concrete and steel, kind of. It's kind of these nice greys, but like distinctive greys. It doesn't like blend into this like just 50 Shades, you know?
Yeah. That's urban. I love that urban, but like the greys and the steel. I love that. That's what it is. That's I think where I get the coldness from in the interior. Like if you look at the sequence that's in Stellan Skarsgård's weird underground cabin place in his chamber, like I would describe that as cold also, but I couldn't articulate. But it's the steel, it's the greys. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah, I like that a lot. That's good. Nailed it. But great point about Mank too, actually, because that's the outlier. I mean, maybe someone who's more visually adept than me could point out similarities in the actual like composition and everything, but just for me, like, it's because how much color contributes to the style that I'm talking about specifically, and lack of color just means it's just immediately makes it an outlier, you know.
I think that Mank's setting is also makes it the outlier. It's sunny California. It's not. It's not.
And it's a period piece.
Well, yeah, Benjamin Button's period piece as well, but yeah.
Is it?
Well, technically, I mean, if you follow his age, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah.
Once again, not that I've seen it, but yeah.
Yeah. You should see it, by the way. I need to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in years. Yeah. I must say, clicking on this movie, I felt we talk about this sometimes. I was surprised by the runtime. I was a bit scared by the runtime, not going to lie. Did this movie feel long to you on a first watch, Fitzy?
No, not really. I mean, yeah, there was no like dead space just because you have to explore both characters. So it kind of justified the runtime, I thought, and I was engaged throughout the whole thing. So yeah, not really.
Yeah, I'm the same. It wasn't an issue for me, dude. The editing is so quick. it's nuts. It has no, what you said, spot on. It has no dead air, no moments that feel wasted. There's no real like even there's plenty of establishing shots and things, but there's no real in the pacing. There's no moment really for the audience to even take a breather. There's no like lingering shots that are clearly just there for like, oh, okay, let's take a breath. The film just moves. So yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't know if a rewatch affected that for you at all, Jaden. If knowing the outcome of all this maybe made it longer or anything like that. Doesn't sound like
I
it.
forgot. Like, because like when I like when it came to him in Skarsgård's basement, I had a look and I saw there was like 30, 40 minutes left. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, hold on, I thought this was the end. Because I forgot about all that post shit. So like, I guess like you can say like that kind of that part of like the length like kind of surprised me because I forgot there was all that additional part. But yeah, no, it's you don't feel it. You're right.
Yeah. There is definitely an important distinction to make between the like that part of the mystery coming to an end with Skarsgård and then post everything after it. I think that was one of that was probably we can jump to it down. That was one of the things I was struggling with a bit of not loving about the film necessarily because I was super into the scene with Skarsgård, super into the goddamn bike chase. That was awesome, and then the way that all ended, that was all neat. But then I don't know, like then the sort of the preceding half an hour just sort of I don't know, like it felt like the case that I was really invested in that I sort of thought the whole movie was meant to be about with finding out Harriet, what happened to her. It sort of just solved really quickly. And it's just like, oh yeah, she's fine. She's right there. Okay, great. And then, which wasn't like super amazingly satisfying for me. But it's okay. But then the movie sort of just keeps going. And for a second I felt like, did I miss the point of this movie? Like I thought we were solving this cold case. But then it sort of ends up coming back to the incident that started it with the billionaire and how Daniel Craig got into this mess in the first place. But I sort of just, watching it, I thought that was just a starting point for Daniel Craig's character. I didn't realize like then we're going to come back to this and this is going to end up being the whole point at the end. So that refocus sort of threw me a bit for a loop and I didn't really know how to feel about it. I was trying to figure out how I felt about that pivot at the end because it definitely felt like a pivot.
I think a lot of that development to both Lisbeth and Craig at the end was kind of hinged on there being a sequel so that you can feel more in tone with them.
Okay.
Especially with the like that's when we were first introduced to Lisbeth, like alter persona with the blonde wig and all that shit. I feel like that would have been a more significant part later. And I feel like you had to kind of round out Craig's story if you were going to make a sequel to it, which was always the plan until it bombed.
God, interesting. There are the foreign versions. There are like they finished it, right? There are sequels.
Yeah, the foreign version. I think it was like I could be very wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was all filmed at the one time, and they just released like very quickly after each other. Like the first one came out in 2009, and I think it was done by the following year, or maybe a year and a half later.
Wow, interesting. Oh yeah, that makes sense because I read in the trivia that the original actress was fully done with the trilogy by the time they were making this movie.
Yeah.
So. Wow, well, they must have smashed that. Okay, cool. Yeah, but that's the thing with it, though, because I did really like by itself, like, Lisbeth going out, getting dressed up, and doing this whole pretty epic this whole sequence that we get there at the end was pretty badass. I really liked it. She steals all his money, right, is what she does?
Yeah, and she redistributes it somewhere else, you know. I don't know if she was like giving it to victims or if she was taking it for herself.
That's not specified, right? She just takes it and does something with it. Yeah. I thought that was all badass. Like that was all really cool by itself. But it was just such a sharp sort of 180. That was sort of like, I don't know how to feel about it exactly. In terms of like the whole narrative. I didn't know if there was like something I wasn't picking up. But what you say about the sequel makes sense. Is that something that you felt at all, Fitzy, on a first viewing?
Yeah, I did think the actual wrap-up the wrap-up of Harriet was a bit unsatisfying.
Yeah.
It is a bit quick and like everything in that last 30 half an hour is a bit quick, I guess. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah. So the trivia I had about this was that due to the disappointing box office, parts 2 and 3 were scrapped. Ultimately, the series was then rebooted in 2018 loosely based on the fourth book. This threw me for a loop too, because I remember this movie coming out. I was like, what? The girl in the spider's web with Claire Foy playing the character, but that also performed poorly. How do you reboot something loosely based on the fourth book? You know?
I know. They probably didn't want to touch the first three because obviously there was adaptations of them already. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird, man. Yeah.
It's a trippy, yeah. Something went wrong here. But at least, I mean, I haven't seen them obviously yet, but like at least the foreign trilogy seems to be intact. Like you've got that. The Hollywood version of it seems to be a mess after this one, but yeah, because that was one of my questions going in, knowing that this was just wanting to going in and excited for it, wanting to view it as just a cool Fincher film. That was my only connection to it. So, but knowing it was based on books, I was going in wondering, is this going to end up standing alone? And the answer to that is sort of. Like, I get that the movie's named after Lisbeth. That's who the title obviously refers to. I just never watching it, the film, got the sense really up until the end when I guess it was sort of just jamming it down my throat. Like, I never got the sense that she was really the main character. Until those last 20 minutes, and it didn't really feel natural in that way either. So. Yeah, it wasn't. The whole ending was okay because it was still consistent with the rest of the film and everything. Like, it still tied back to things previously, so it wasn't like it was a total like mess or anything. I'm not saying that, but I still feel by the end of it, like I still didn't have a strong sense of what this narrative was meant to really be. So like, is the series like what is this series? Is it like a different adventures? Well, adventure. Yeah, that's a weird word, but is it like different cases with goddamn Lisbeth?
With Mikhail and Lisbeth.
Oh, so Mikhail is always part of it too.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he is.
Interesting. But Lisbeth is meant to be the main character.
I think so.
Right. But you see what I mean? How like I didn't necessarily get that from this though. You know what I mean?
For sure. I mean, they don't meet until like 76 minutes into the movie, I think was the number.
Right. Yeah.
And like it feels like even after they meet, it feels like a lot of the time is dominated with Craig. With Craig's character, I should say, not. But yeah, no, 100%.
I'm glad you think so. Do you agree with that, Fitzy? By the way.
Yeah. It's kind of split on the two characters. Yeah.
Yeah, because Daniel Craig, all of Daniel Craig's stuff right from the start was cool. Like I was in on it. Everything with him going to Christopher Plummer's house, getting introduced to the case. Everything there, I thought that was all great. But then that's the point where the film, it's happening so quickly that it's not a pacing issue because God, the cuts are so quick. But we're also cutting back and forth between some of Elizabeth's early scenes, and whenever it cuts to her, I didn't have an issue with it, but I didn't understand what we were doing with her yet, like what her story was meant to be yet. So immediately, like the prejudice in my mind from the start is Daniel Craig's the main character, and we're also cutting to this person, But obviously, things end up cutting. When we cut back to Elizabeth, things end up taking a bit of a turn on the darker side when it really starts coming together with this thing with the goddamn, what is he, like this welfare guy?
Centrelink.
Yes, Centrelink man. We'll call him that. Yeah, Centrelink man. He was quite an interesting character. I quite liked him. Oh man, no, but honestly, that stuff, that shit was messed up, and that's when Elizabeth's stuff started clicking for me, where I'm like, oh, this is gnarly, and that's when I was like, felt really rooted in her perspective of like how her worldview and the stuff she has to deal with, and just wanting her to friggin' tear this shit apart, because my God, that guy was something else, man. I swear to God. Can you believe he said? He said, "Can I drive you home?" Something else, dude. The scene where she tattoos him is fantastic. That was awesome.
The last kick of whatever she's putting up his ass, it always gets me, because like that's the one that like it sounds like it goes too deep. And I'm like, oh my God.
I'm so glad, dude. I literally wrote down the sound. I thought I said it was a knife. Do you know if it was a knife?
No, it wasn't a knife. No,
it wasn't a knife.
No.
Yeah, that's too messed up. Actually, yeah. My note was the sound design for when the knife is inserted into his ass is insane. It was crazy.
Yeah, like the first one's not too bad, but like it's that final kick that really just gets it up there. Like, oh,
Good Foley work there, guys.
Yeah.
I wonder how they created that noise. Maybe I don't want to know.
I'll put my hand up for that.
Someone volunteered.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah. But that scene was like, that was a great scene. That was like an example of what I'm talking about with Fincher just directing a hell out of a scene and everyone doing great in it. But it was even funnier when she came back and told him to stop visiting tattoo removal websites as well. That was great.
I like how like not cringe the hacking stuff is. Like it doesn't feel forced or like, you know, she's portrayed as like a badass kind of hacker character. And it doesn't ever seem like it's I don't know, it doesn't ever feel unnatural or anything. It feels you know, she doesn't give like a massive monologue about how she's gonna, you know, she just like of like technical terms, you know, or some shit.
Yeah. That's a great point. That's a really good point. I'm so sick of goddamn hackers in films being like, they've got a computer and they're smart, therefore they can just do it. Like you always see in this film that there's an establishing how she does things and plants things earlier, and she's always got the playing chess with it all. Yeah,
she does a lot of things like physically.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of analog stuff she does. Yeah,
exactly, which makes it all make sense and work. Which again, like I don't know anything about hacking. But it's when the film makes an effort like that I just buy into it more. Like, oh, I assume I can see the logic, so I assume that would work.
Actually, that's why I kind of didn't like the money hacking thing a bit, because I don't know. Oh, I guess she had the thing earlier from his apartment, but it still felt a bit. I still felt a bit weird that she just kind of hacked like billions of dollars and, you know, dispersed it or whatever.
What do you mean? She did it all legally, didn't she? Not legally, but like she did through like the right channels, like all that.
So she was going to the meetings to posing as like a real representative.
Yeah, but like it's not like she ever like hacked the money and then transferred it somewhere. It's like that she got
them to approve it. She got all of them to do it properly. She got them to do it officially.
Yeah, she kind of like found it and then like got it to right.
Right.
I don't know.
No, that I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, she still had to like hack the bank numbers as well, but it still felt a bit inconsistent with the rest of the films, like procedural kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That's a good point. Got some trivia here. Daniel Craig gained weight for his role as Mikhail to remind himself and the audience that he was portraying a journalist, not James Bond, and wanted to appear as normal as possible. Good job. Because I felt that.
I mean, he's still fit. I mean, like...
Oh, yeah. To be clear, when I say Daniel Craig gained weight, it just means that he doesn't look super jacked, is basically it. He's not heavy in any way, you know what I mean? So... yeah. No, I actually did take note of this. I thought it was quite good because he does. I say James Bond. I'm not going to lie, especially when he's doing his British accent. So the fact that he's got his glasses on and he's sort of thinner, I was like, okay, I can buy him as this journalist guy. He did a good job there. I respected that. But that's just a way for me to say I thought Daniel Craig was really good in the movie. You know, I thought the same of Rooney Mara. Actually, she was unrecognizable for a lot of this. Like I know Rooney Mara. I've seen her. I know it's her. I know her well. I had to keep looking at the screen and being like, are you sure that's like, is it someone else for this scene? Like sometimes I just couldn't see it. Like I thought her transformation was really good.
The only time I recognized her was when she put the disguise on and she was blonde.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that's
for sure. Probably because she got rid of the piercings.
Yeah, like there's no tattoos or, you know,
that too. Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. Yeah. This is going to be the most important question I ask all day. The importance of eyebrows on a human face, you know, because my experience with eyebrows and my experience with looking at Rooney Mara in this film was the whole time I'm looking at her face and I'm like, there's something so weird about her face, you know? And no one pays any attention to eyebrows, but the second it's pointed out that, she's got bleached eyebrows and that's why she looks weird, it's like, Right. So did you guys notice her bleached eyebrows?
Yeah, I think so. Like the thing is, like just with that, like there's a joke in one of the Doctor Who episodes about like Matt Smith's eyebrows, where they make a joke about like his eyebrows are gone. And he's like, no, they're just delicate because his are very hard to see as well. So like, I feel like because of that joke, I've like looked for it a bit more in like things like this. But yeah, no, like there was like I definitely like realized it, especially like on close ups.
Yeah. Okay. That's so funny that like that therefore now you were just more aware of eyebrows as a person
Yeah.
as a result of that. That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. What have I got? I got some more trivia here. In order to convince the studio that Rooney Mara had what it took to portray this character, David Fincher asked her to go out and get really drunk. He then had her come home the next morning after a night of vomiting and took pictures of her in her hungover state. This is what convinced the studio to cast her. Yep, that sounds like Fincher. That sounds about right. My God. One of the things that, for me, really contributes to the film's strong tone and everything, again, it feeling very Fincher, is the nature of the killings and the killer. Obviously, the comparison, I assume you guys felt the same, but the comparison I felt right away was when we start getting into the biblical references and the religious aspect of it, was like, oh yeah, this is feeling very Seven in a cool way, in a creepy way of like, no?
I just never think it felt like Seven.
Really? Well, I just mean in terms of like the having tonally like the idea of this killer who's like obsessed with, you know, Bible and shit.
No, I get that like there's like a crossover in that stage, but I don't think it's remotely like it.
Okay. Well, what do you mean by that though? Like, what are your comparisons? You know,
I just never felt any semblance of Seven at all. Like to the point like where I never would have even made that thought. Like I get it.
Okay.
And you're probably right, but like, I just absolutely never felt that.
Well, that's good. If somebody likes Seven a lot, like you weren't thinking of Seven. That's good. I was thinking of it, especially during that some of the more gruesome aspects. I mean, I liked seeing all the case photos and all that messed up shit that guy did.
I think I think the difference is that the religious stuff is like it's like the primary MO of John Doe in Seven, whereas the killing in this feels very like post action justification, because like you probably read in the trivia that like the original title of this film is or of the series is Men Who Hate Women, and I think that the killing very much more feels like that. It just feels more gender oriented, or I don't know, misogynistic, whatever the word is for it. It feels like that, and it feels like the religion is like a kind of post justification of the killers to make them feel better about themselves. Whereas in Seven, it's always it's that at the forefront and about, you know, kind of that. I think that's probably the difference.
Good point. No, that's valid, definitely, because I guess in that sense, I saw it also as like, so the person who killed was Stellan Skarsgård's dad that was doing the killings in that way, right? Because Stellan then admits that he was also obviously a serial killer, but he just threw
he took on
all the bodies in the ocean.
Yeah, he took
right.
Yeah.
So all of these photos that we're seeing were of the killings of his father.
Yeah.
So and I sort of got the vibe, that's true, of like he was killing them in these specific ways in line with Bible verses, mainly just because, definitely potentially as justification, but also just because he just found it amusing, like to kill them in that way. Yeah. Like he found it ironic in some way. Like he didn't, not because he actually believes in.
There is the anti-Semite angle as well. And like, and like, it feels like that line about Harriet not being a Jewish name at first feels like a throwaway, but then it comes around in the end that no, she's not actually dead. So she's like, they're right. And it's not part of it. Like she's not, you know, a part of it. But yeah, no. Yeah. I was going somewhere else with that, but I've lost it completely. Sorry.
Shit. Did it have to do with the cat?
Oh, bro, I took one note and I did not want that to go overlooked, and it was fucking swastika cat. I forgot that happened, but the moment Craig goes to open the door, I was like, "Oh shit, I know what's to come here." And then he's there, and he goes, "Oh fuck!" And I was like, "God damn!" It. And I just started laughing because I that's not the correct response, but like that shit's so funny, man. Like they killed the cat
was in the shape of a swastika,
and they put it in the shape. Yeah, they bent the legs to make it. If you bring, you can pull it up and you'll see.
Wow!
And that was, dude, that shit sent me.
That I was very upset. I was the whole time when the cat turned up. I'm like, as I always do, I wrote, "I love this cat," and then I immediately wrote, "This cat's gonna." I hope this cat will be fine, but of course it wasn't, which was upsetting. I just thought it was the same thing as the dove, where it was decapitation and the limbs, but I didn't notice the shape. So, damn.
I'm gonna pull it up again, but like I'm almost positive
that it makes sense. I just didn't see it. Yeah, wow. That's crazy. Although, I must say, though, if you're Stellan Skarsgård, right, so Daniel Craig, they're investigating this cold case that, for as far as they're aware, like, this shit happened 40 years ago, has no relevance now, but we're just trying to get answers for this old man. Like, he again puts this cat on the front. Like, isn't he just straight up saying, "Hey, guys, by the way, I'm the killer, I'm still here, I'm still alive, and I'm still, like, very close to you"? Like, isn't that sort of a giveaway? You know what I mean?
Well, I think
that wasn't very smart.
At that point, I mean, like, wasn't it kind of...
But they were going to get him anyway.
Yeah, like there was... I don't know. You know.
I guess you can make that argument, yeah. Did we suspect Stellan Skarsgård, though, Fitzy?
Yeah, well, I think I kind of knew that he was a bad guy because I'd seen, like, the basement thing, like at least, like, 2 seconds from it before.
Oh, okay.
So...
Gotcha.
But,
How good is he, though, as always?
He's pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely in the shape of a swastika.
That's awesome. I mean, you know.
So everything is just... everything is Nazi related then, I guess, because Christopher Plummer's brother was a Nazi and then his son was Gottfried. He was the drunk charmer. He was the one who started killing people. And then Gottfried's son was Martin. But because they were killing Jewish girls, it was, I guess, Nazi related because the anti-Semites, I guess.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So the guy that Daniel Craig, the recluse Nazi that Daniel Craig visits in that one scene, the guy in the wheelchair, he's the grandfather of Stellan?
I think he's no. The grandfather, because
he points out two Nazis in the first introduction, doesn't he? I think one of them was Gottfried and then one of them was someone else.
Not Gottfried. So Gottfried's dad was a Nazi.
Yeah.
But kind of Gottfried might be by just, succession, I guess. But that guy was like kind of a bit further off, like a cousin or some shit.
I see.
Because
okay.
that wouldn't make sense for... I don't think his brother was alive.
Right. No,
his brother died in 1940. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Before...
But that's...
There was a line where he said he died in 1940 before he could see any real action.
Yeah. But is it possible that... I mean, I guess I don't know the ages between the brothers, but like I'm just trying to think Christopher Plummer's generation, right? That his general age. That then Stellan can be the grandson of that. You know what I mean? Of that line, of that generation. Like, is that age discrepancy weird?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. It's possible like that. Yeah.
Okay.
He's the grandson of Christopher Plummer's brother. If that's what he's saying.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, is it like are their ages a bit weird then? But I guess not. Okay. Yeah. If they have kids young, it makes sense.
Nah, they're Swedes. Yeah, they do weird shit.
Stellan does seem a bit old, but
I mean, if he's like 50 and Christopher Plummer's 8, I've actually I shouldn't think about it anymore. I've just made it weirder. Okay, my favorite scene in the movie, no doubt, was this whole sequence that related to Martin's house. Not just the chamber scene, which was also great, but everything about it. When Daniel Craig goes in there first, what a great set, by the way, that house that they had. God damn, like just the windows, the motif of the doors always being slightly ajar and that creating the wind noise and the suspense that creates. It's really well thought out. And it was also just like simultaneously really tense. So that all that stuff's really good when Daniel Craig's trying to maneuver around there carefully. Really tense, also just funny when Daniel Craig just trips over and gets totally sprung outside there in the front yard, which was great because that so rarely happens. I did not expect that to happen at all because everyone usually gets away. So I just thought it was hilarious that like that'd be me, you know, I'd just trip over and be like, oh shit, well.
Well, he's no James Bond, you know.
Clearly not. No. So I thought that all that was great. And then so that was just pure fun tension stuff that I enjoyed. But then when goddamn he leads him into the chamber, gasses him, there's these cuts that they do where every time Daniel Craig gets like strung up or hung up by that mechanism, whatever that is, like that looks like some sort of like harness or whatever it was around him. Every time they like quickly do quick cuts to show him getting like launched around the goddamn room, and that shit looked like it really hurt. That was really effective, I thought. And then of course, like Stellan Skarsgård, one of the great actors, just delivering some incredible dialogue. His whole spiel is fantastic. Some of these lines I wrote down, like, I mean, he tells him that you're going to create quite a mess here. He then goes on about the fear of offending is stronger than the fear of pain. And then he goes on to break down the psychology of interviewing a captured victim like he is currently doing and about why people do it. It was all fantastic. I was gripped by this stuff. I thought the writing was great. And, you know, when he talks about how he did it because he does this because his father did and, you know, the relationship he had there. And then he tops it all off by just friggin' admitting that he had a girl in a cage sitting there. I was like, what? And then the goddamn and then he puts a plastic bag. It's all great. I thought this was fantastic. And then of course, if you build this great scene, and then you lead it into an epic motorcycle chase, I'm gonna love this shit. So this 10 or 15 minutes here was peak. The film's peak for me. Yeah.
I didn't love the oversharing.
The what? Sorry.
The oversharing of him. The
classic thing.
I could see it as part of his kind of character, but then again, it didn't feel like it was in line with the rest of the tone of the film. Like it feels like it was in line with the character, but not with the film. You know,
I see what you mean. It
felt a bit Bond villain, and at that point of sharing everything.
Yeah, I mean, you're objectively correct in terms of what it actually is. I guess this probably won't work for everyone, but I guess in an attempt to like sort of not only be self-referential about it, because he literally brings up that that's what he's doing. And it's not even that though. Like it's one thing to like bring up, I'm self-aware that I'm interviewing you right now and spouting all my typical speech stuff. But then the way he also is not only just self-aware of it, but then sort of breaks it down a little bit of like why he's doing it and how he enjoys it. Like that sort of saved it for me from being a con, I think. But I mean, I can't disagree with you because he literally does that. He literally spouts his motivation. So that's fair enough. What do you think of this scene, Fitzy? And if it wasn't a standout for you, do you have a favourite sequence or anything like that?
It was really good. I'm still just disappointed by like I thought we would get to meet like a wider cast of characters in the family and it would be more of a mystery kind of. Because like he's kind of the main culprit the whole time, I guess, or the main person you'd suspect. I mean, it's like Stellan Skarsgård, you know, he's got that kind of sus face.
Wasn't Froda kind of like the main kind of suspect for quite a bit of it? Is
he the lawyer?
Yeah. Because doesn't he keep on mentioning like he seems like he's the one that's trying to hide shit or whatever?
Yeah, and so who was the scene, now that you say that, who was the scene at the very start before the title sequence? That was between the cop and
Plumber, Froda? Because he got another...
Oh, and Plumber.
Because he got another flower, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what triggered it all.
Those were still...
Gotcha.
Those were still from...
Harriet,
yeah.
Harriet sending them?
Yes.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, I only understood that after. I was like, oh... Harriet's sending as well.
Cool. Yeah, Fitzy, you bring up a really good point actually, just about like in terms of like playing the guessing game of who did it, because I because of that opening scene, which I don't know if I was meant to get it in the moment or if I'm just dumb or whatever, but I didn't understand that. So from the opening scene, the cop was in it, so I suspected him. But then because I suspected him, I thought that's too easy. And then so to your point, I think the only other than the lawyer, the only other real person you can sort of think, who's going to be a subversion of who I'm meant to think it is. It's Skarsgård's sort of your only option, your only realistic sort of option, I think. So.
Well, there's that, but it's also the fact that like Christopher Plummer says, like you're gonna meet the worst collection of people you've ever met, like misers, thieves, bullies. It seems like that's gonna be a large part of the film, just like interacting with these people, even if they're not suspects. Just like because that's what the promise kind of is, that you're gonna like dive deep into this family and like old mate, he's gonna be like in the middle of it. But it's kind of distance from them because, as you said, they're all kind of just in their houses or whatever. Like, there's a bunch of people we don't meet, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I know he says as much that they're recluses, but they really are. They really stay that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I guess in that way, not that this could have ever been done any differently because it's an adaptation of a book and a remake, I understand that. But I guess like in a world where this is an original Fincher film, right? Like I guess in that way it'd be cooler and sort of tying in some of my other reservations, if it, like you take Lisbeth out, or you don't have to take her out, but you make it clear that Daniel Craig's the main character, and you spend her runtime diving deeper into that side of it, and it's sort of the whole film is just that. I feel like, and then you make the ending a bit more satisfying. I feel like that could make it awesome,
Yeah, maybe, but like I don't know, because the film's like is not necessarily. The film doesn't necessarily have a main focus. Like the main focus isn't necessarily mystery. There's like the romance between the two. There's a kind of revenge plot with her. So it's kind of like if you remove those things, you're removing like half what the movie is already, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of the romance between them, how did you feel about that, Fitzy? Did you feel like it was natural? Any comments?
I thought it was pretty natural. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah. I thought it was. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't know how to feel about it. No criticism of it. Just trying to analyze it. It was interesting that they sort of became a couple. But what is Daniel Craig's read on it? Like, in terms of interpreting it through the lens of the actual ending, like the final scene. I was a bit confused by that. Does Daniel Craig see their relationship? He obviously cares for her because in that I think it's the second to last scene-ish, where she's outside and he comes down from the workplace and Robin Wright's watching from the window. Like he's obviously like really likes her and like, it's not like he's just out there because he has to be. So he's invested in Elizabeth in some way. But I sort of got from the final scene of him just being with Robin Wright that he didn't necessarily ever view Elizabeth as like a real romantic partner. And more
he tells her from
like
the start that that he's too old and she's too young. I mean, like, it feels
so
like,
I guess he just sticks with that. Like,
it feels like a relationship of circumstances. While they're together, and then one they're not.
We're hanging out in this house. Let's just bang. Why not? Yeah.
I'm sure. Like it feels like it does feel genuine, and I quite liked it to the point where I was pissed off that he ends up with Robin at the end. Like I think that it'll probably be a combination of Robin asked him about it and he came clean and she said, don't do that. And also he kind of thought too young or something, which is funny because, Bond is all about young. Yeah.
Now that makes sense. So that makes sense. Like he's a pretty cool person, it seems like. So like it makes sense that he would still feel something for Elizabeth. Like he's not a total arsehole to her or anything afterwards. But yeah, like at the end of the day, in his mind, it was always that. And it's just like Robin Wright's in the real world is his real thing at the moment. That sort of makes sense.
So he cheated on his wife with Robin Wright.
Yeah.
And then he was with Elizabeth as well. So, and I think he lied about something in the end. But I think half of the implication is that he's actually not like that great of a guy, and that he's like Elizabeth is disappointed in the end because he's not obviously some of the guys that we meet in the film, but he does fit the mold of kind of being a bit selfish,
Men who hate women.
I mean, not to that extent, but it's kind
of course.
She's disappointed in the end that he's not like perfect or whatever, or like, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I was trying to feel like the final scene. It's a good scene because I was thinking about it, but I didn't feel anything from it because mainly because I was probably just trying to think about it. But that makes sense if it's like this feeling of just like disappointment, obviously like wanting him to choose her, but then also that gender element too of just like, wow, men suck, you know?
Yeah, well, I think Craig's very like charismatic and like charming and stuff. Like no matter like what character he plays, but I think if you look objectively at his character, he's kind of not like a perfect person. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, yeah, the fact of the matter is like the film can sort of, I guess, did a good job of like making me forget. But like at the end of the day, he cheated on his wife with Robin Wright, and he cheated on Robin Wright. Like that's what happened. So
it's like Golden Girl if he didn't obviously look like sleazy, you know.
Yeah,
like a different actor.
Yeah. Some trivia here. According to David Fincher, the opening title sequence of the film is a, quote, sort of primordial sort of tar and ooze of the subconscious, sort of her nightmare. It's a very nice way to put it, Fincher. Basically, yeah, I also read the guy who designed it was instructed with it being Elizabeth Nightmare. This was a very interesting title sequence. I know it's sort of the closest title sequence that comes to mind. I might be forgetting some of them, but it feels closest to Fight Club's title sequence in terms of tone and just general energy it brings. But because it was high levels of intensity, that whole
Sevens
thing.
is like
It was pretty insane. Sevens is like that too.
Yeah, lots of gritty, quick cuts. I mean, it's completely it's more about the kind of crimes and like kind of the murders and stuff like that. So it's more like kind of gory.
Yeah.
But like it has that kind of same quick energy and kind of all that shit.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. This one was rapid. It was pretty insane actually.
I feel like I was watching like a HBO fucking like opening on like steroids or some shit.
Yeah. That's exactly what it felt like. David Fincher's miniseries intro. Yeah. And the Immigrant Song remix choice was cool. I was surprised by it. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess I liked it. It was just it surprised me because of number one, how like it's sort of impossible for it not to take you aback because it's just has that quality to it. But at the same time, like when I think suspenseful murder mystery, I don't think that. So I sort of appreciated the subversion as well. I sort of think something more brooding and I don't know, something different. But yeah, it was cool. Anything about the score? Anything? Because to me, it was solid, but
fucking
like it didn't.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, go for it.
I think the main thing to me is seeing that Reznor and Ross can go from a Social Network to this and then to a few years later doing Soul. Like it's just such an interesting kind of like.
Really, they did Soul?
Yeah, exactly. It's like such a whiplash of like kind of tone and genre of doing stuff. I think they do awesome. Just crafting this kind of the sound of Sweden. You know, like you know, I'm sure you read about like how they agree that bells and kind of things would be like the kind of. You know, the kind of leitmotif of fucking the soundscape. But yeah, I thought it was fantastic. Like it's just pensive and fucking tense and always appropriate.
Yeah, yes, I thought always appropriate for sure. Yeah. It was very high quality, no doubt. I really liked it.
Sorry, the other thing, the other thing I did want to mention is that this won for best editing, and I guess like I feel like we've probably spoken about it before, but like. What is good editing? I guess because to me, when I try and judge good editing, it's always with the pacing of the film and like you know it's primarily that rather. So is that what is good editing to you? And do you think this film deserved all that shit?
What a good question.
Because I was trying to think of like best editing of the year. I was like, but what is best editing?
I feel like I couldn't ever really. I mean, no one who nominates best editing, you know, no one who's deciding that actually knows this either. I feel like I would really want to know. I would need to have an insight into how it was edited to know if it was best edited. You know what I mean? Like it's hard to tell for me by truly judging the work of the extent of the achievement by just seeing the end result. It's sort of I need to get a glimpse into the process maybe, but to try and I don't know.
Well, one of the things you said that made me think it was good editing was that when Craig's getting pulled around in those fast cuts, you feel like the kind of pain of it. And I was like, you're right, fair enough. That's like if you can feel the weight of him being slugged around through the cuts alone. Like that's awesome.
Absolutely, that's a great point.
Yeah,
You're totally right. And I guess that's sort of the difference, the distinction you got to draw between like best editing and most noticeable editing, if that makes sense. Like to me, when the editing's, sometimes I watch films where the editing is noticeable to me for different reasons. And sometimes I watch a film and I never think about it. And that's sort of hard where it's like, that's totally its own discussion. But then it's like, how does that affect the quality of it? You know, and that because I was going to sort of ask that question, but that example you brought up was the perfect example of me noticing the editing and it being excellent and it having an effect, you know, a positive effect. As I already brought up, I noticed the editing all the way throughout of just how quick the scenes move, and there are very few shots that last longer than 3 seconds in the movie, you know, so that's all very noticeable, and I think we came to the conclusion like does contribute in a positive way. But then there are other examples where it's like I notice the editing here, but does that make it better compared to a film that I don't notice the editing, but because I don't notice it, that makes it great? You know, that's sort of the weirdness of it. But so I don't even know. I would love to any editors or anyone who decides on those categories how they decide. Like for the Academy, for example, who would have selected this as the winner. Like, is everyone, I don't know how that works. Does everyone who's in the Academy, like actors included, get to vote on best editing?
I'm pretty sure.
That's weird to me, you know? Because I personally feel like I'd probably nominate this film in that year. But I don't feel like I'd be qualified to nominate it, you know? It's sort of it's a whole different league than just like watching a performance even. It's interesting.
Well, that's why I guess, I'm assuming that everyone does vote on everything, but like maybe not. But that but it's for that reason that assuming that everyone votes on everything, that Academy inductions always seem a bit awkward of like who they pick and who they don't, because you know it's like what does this person know about all that and not just this? So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And maybe that's where you just get into it being like who even cares? It doesn't matter, because there's a very good chance. I don't know, but there's a very good chance that this film won Best Editing primarily because people noticed it and that's it, and they just nominated it. You know what I mean? Like they didn't even necessarily, yeah.
The cross-cutting there is like very great. Like it's very seamless cross-cutting. I think that's one of the elements that's like obviously like great editing. Yeah.
Sorry, when you say that, are you talking about like shots in the same scene of conversations or like cutting between scenes?
Them
Elizabeth
talking about Elizabeth
Craig,
and Elizabeth's like walking in, or like coming into the building.
Gotcha.
Or, like, Craig and Elizabeth like investigating at the same time.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Like when cross-cutting like so seamless like that, I think it happens more often, which is why it's so impressive that you don't notice it. Because it can be jarring, and the fact that it's like not is like to the film's benefit. And the fact that like it's combining two of the main characters like perspectives as well is kind of why it's such a great achievement as well, because they're both equally important. Yeah, I think that's like editing's always like hard, but I think in this case it's kind of a bit more obvious, I guess.
That's really good analysis. I didn't even pick up on that. That's great. There you go, guys. Guys clearly deserved best editing. I don't know what it was up against, but clearly, I don't know. It's probably up against like Cowboys versus Aliens or some shit.
Yes, the other standout in editing of that year. Yeah.
I think it was the same year. Daniel Craig too. Yeah. No, that was great. But I am actually done now, except for big shout out to the Happy Meal. Love that Elizabeth loves Happy Meals. Yeah.
I think I just talking about technical achievements. That CGI blood, phenomenal. I didn't even know it was CGI until I read the trivia.
What? Yeah, in what scene?
In the bathtub when she's cleaning off his wound, that blood is CGI, so they could do multiple takes of it without having to worry about consistency. So that's all CGI, and it looks. I was like, holy shit! I was like, that's nuts.
That's some fantastic blood flow simulations there. Very nice, very nice, cool.
And with the water mixing in and like running down, like, oh, dude. That's like it's like some of the best CGI I've fucking seen. Like, I was like, this moves like real liquid, and like we're like the mix of the viscosity and shit, and like it's running down. I was like, and like the color, I was like, fucking holy shit, man.
Dude, the Revenant bear ain't got nothing.
Honestly, no, it doesn't. Like, I think that blood is in those few shots is more impressive than the Revenant bear.
You did just blow my mind. I can't believe that was CG. That feels like, oh wow, I can't even, now I feel like by you telling me that I have to question everything I see now. Like, that guy is that coffee CG? You know, I'm just going to be thinking that all the time. Oh man. Okay, let's get to our final verdicts for The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Fitchy.
My mind was cross-cutting between a 7 and 8, but I'm going to, I'll give it a tentative 8 because I think there's like enough there to enjoy. I think I appreciate it more a little bit. So now that we're talking about it, I think there's a lot of positives. So yeah, I'll give it an 8.
I'm in the exact same spot, and based on that editing discussion and the insights you guys brought were great. I'm giving it an 8 too because of that. Yeah. What about you, Jaden?
Yeah, so I've had this film on an 8, and I'm going to keep it there as well. I think I appreciated it more on this rewatch. I didn't like it more. I think I liked it the same. But yeah, it's great.
Awesome.
Bro, I love it. When we give it an 8, it gives something an 8. It's so great.
It feels like the definitive Cinefex seal of approval, like recommendation. You know, like watch this movie. Yeah.
Who would you recommend this film to? Everyone? Or?
I'd recommend this film to everyone. I mean, anyone who's not like, I mean,
squeamish.
We all know people that just like would never just watch anything with violence in it. Outside of that, yeah, I'd recommend it to everyone. Yeah. Should that be a new segment where we tell you who we would recommend the movie to? All right, let's get into news chat. Jaden, Tron 3 is happening? It's happening.
It's happening, like 100% confirmed happening.
It's happening?
Yeah. I feel like we've talked about it a few times. We've been talking about it
since 2020.
Oh no, we've talked about it a few times of like, oh yeah, it seems like it's happening, but like now, like it's 100% definitely confirmed happening.
That's crazy.
Which is exciting. I love Tron Legacy, like just like unabashedly love it. So this is very exciting news. I've been hanging for it since 2010 or whenever it was that it was released.
Yeah.
Let's hope Daft Punk come back for that soundtrack. Doubt it though. But I think like seeing the news, I think it's going to begin production in August this year is what is being said. And there's 2 major names attached to it at the moment, which is Jared Leto is 100% confirmed to be starring, and that old mate from Pirates 5 is directing, whose name slips my mind at the moment. The Jared Leto news disappoints me quite a bit. Not that I don't, because the thing is, I like Jared Leto. I like him in a lot of things. I think he's great. But the thing is, whenever you have Jared Leto there, is you're always going to have the discussion from the people in Letterboxd and the people that hate him. And it's like, oh, why is he in this? Oh, he's disgusting. I'm like, fuck off. But actually, I don't know if he's actually done that stuff, like bad stuff. Maybe he has. But like him being there means that there's that the top discussion around this film is always going to be Jared Leto sucks. So that annoys me. But everything else is great.
So like, you respect Jared Leto's work, but like because of that, you just rather him never be in anything again.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like I like him in Blade Runner, but like if you mention him in Blade Runner, people are always like, "Oh, why is he here? He's such a shit cunt." And I'm like, "Oh, fuck it."
Like really? Oh, that's so weird.
Well, yeah, because he's a creep and a weirdo. Like that Radiohead song, No, but like yeah, people hate him. Maybe rightfully so. Who knows? But yeah, he tends to dominate the dialogue around the film when he appears in it.
I mean, I could be wrong. I've never heard anything like actually bad. I know people were weirded out by some of that the Suicide Squad set stuff.
Oh yeah,
that I don't need to disclose. But outside of, and like I know he has this weird like
cult.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I don't know how real that is. Like I don't know how like
I'm pretty
much
sure it's
of
real.
Like, but I don't know how much of like he like you could word it like, oh, he had this retreat with like he did this thing that's like could be interpreted as a cult, and then if you were to view it through a certain lens, and then that displays up it being worded as, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, was it, if you were there, like were you in a cult? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Well, can you be in a cult for a week? That's a real question. Or like a weekend retreat.
Right. It's, yeah.
Isn't it
like it's not really a cult.
Isn't it like a lifetime commitment?
I think people just like using the word cult. Yeah. I think so. But I don't know. But my point actually was going to be that, all that aside, like I don't think Disney would work with him if he was actually problematic, like genuinely.
Probably, yeah, probably.
That sort of makes sense to me. But he's never been in these movies, right? Like it's just, as far as you're aware as a Tron fan, it's just like, oh, it's a big name actor in a new Tron movie.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, we had a couple trailers. Scream 6. Jaden, you saw this one. What do you think? I saw something about his Scream. Is he Ghostface, right? That's his name.
Yeah.
He's taking Manhattan.
He's in New York. Exciting stuff, you know. It's the first time we've got a slasher in New York since, you know, Jason Takes Manhattan back in the 80s. Maybe. I'm talking out of my ass here. I don't know. But I wasn't going to watch this trailer, but then I was like, I should probably watch it for the show because, you know, you're probably going to bring it up. It was a fantastic trailer. It was really awesome. I liked Scream 5, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it. I think Liam probably liked it more. You probably liked it more, Liam.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Yeah,
I mean,
there you
it
go.
probably wasn't like actually great, but I enjoyed it. It was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But six looks it looks great. It looks like lots of kills, lots of exciting stuff. I think the thing is, Scream's always been kind of small town location, or kind of isolated. Actually, no, that's like because it does go to Hollywood, doesn't it? In 2 or 3.
Yeah, but you're right. It's always
It always
small
feels
location.
yeah, isolated or like, you know, kind of like contained. Whereas this feels like just everyone's at risk, you know. Like in the trailer, he comes in and just like shoots a store clerk, and it's like, wow.
He shoots someone.
Oh,
Yeah, because like he comes in and he stabs a guy, and then the store clerk goes to shoot him, but then like Ghostface takes his gun and then shoots him, and it's badass.
That sounds silly as fuck. What the hell?
It
That sounds so
it-
out
it-
of character.
Yeah, but it looks good. Like the whole trailer is like he's built different to the previous Ghostfaces.
he's built different.
Wow.
Like no, deadass. He says I'm not like anyone before, and shit like that. And like yeah, it looks nuts. It looks great.
That's what they all
So-
say.
So Ghostface is a different person every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Okay, all right. There was a Mandalorian season 3 trailer that only I watched, I think. Yeah, it looks like the Mandalorian, man. I don't know. It's cool. I like it. I'm in a weird place with this right now, where like I'm not down on Star Wars. You know, I'm joined the Bad Batch. Love me some Star Wars, as we know. I'm not, like, even though there's been a lot, I'm all in for it. I'm not down. So I'm not down on the franchise. I'm not down on the Mandalorian even, because the Mandalorian season 2 finale was phenomenal. The Mandalorian episodes in the Book of Boba Fett were phenomenal. You know what I mean? So like, everything is like, oh, this should be fine. But for some reason, I'm just not that excited.
It's because of me, isn't it?
Because of you. Yeah, it's actually entirely your fault.
I'm a Debbie
You ruined
Downer
it.
on it. Yeah.
You're in it. No. The truth is that the Book of Boba Fett did it, and the ending of the Book of Boba Fett did it. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling a lot right now. The trailer looks cool. There's some cool shots. We're going to Coruscant. Looks awesome. We're going to actually. Jaden will be triggered by Coruscant because it doesn't look actually. It doesn't actually look that good. But I'm just saying it's great. We're going to Coruscant. That's what I'm saying. And there's some interesting, intriguing shots of like Jedi and shit. It's like, what the hell's going on? So there's some cool things going on. But I don't know. I just need to get into the flow of the season. I'm going to obviously be there every week, so I need to actually just watch it and.
Oh, wait, maybe
get in
I did watch the
spirit
trailer.
at the time. Did you?
And does he talk about he needs to go to Mandalore and shit like that?
Yeah, but he did that in the last one as well. So like, I don't blame you if you're mixing them up. You get there's the shot. Did you see the shot?
He's all like, we're a scattered people and shit like that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did watch it then. Yeah.
And you saw the shot. Hang on, you see the shot of the Jedi in the Jedi Temple?
Like the big statues or some shit? No.
No. There's Jedi with lightsabers.
Maybe I didn't watch it all then.
It was the shot of the ruined Mandalorian city, or the main Mandalore city.
Like him flying over it or some shit.
I couldn't tell the context. It was just the shot, an aerial shot of it.
Yeah,
He
I
might
think so.
be flying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, because like there was a shot of him like in hyperspace in like the Naboo starfighter and shit like that.
Yeah.
I watched some of it, I think.
Yeah. So cool visuals. I'm sure it's going to be a quality season. As always with these Mandalorian trailers, like the thing that they've always done a great job with is hiding stuff from the trailers, and there's always ends up being tons of cool Star Wars nerdy surprises that you never see coming that they don't show. So that's always fun. But yeah, right now I just wanted to start and get into it that way. Yeah.
March 1st, isn't it?
March 1st, so not far at all. Not far at all. There's a couple of weeks there we were getting double pager every week, right? Yeah, a couple of weeks there. So that's fun. That's fun. All right, let's get into our highlights of the week. Whew, let's start with Fitzy.
Oof. Well, I watched Babylon, which was a banger, which was great.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, it was really great. No, it was just really fun and exciting just the whole time, and it was really the ending really got me. But it was I don't even know. It was the score really deserved like whatever it got because the score was awesome. The score just maintained the hype throughout the whole thing, and it was a lot more like the score's a lot more like La La Land than I would have thought with a little piano interludes and stuff. But the way the film just like seamlessly cuts between the four characters that it follows throughout like this massive turning point in Hollywood is really cool. It does it it explores each character so well, and there's all these like extras like supporting cast, people you kind of see through each character, and it just feels so much like a community, and it feels like so like whole, I guess. And the film is just great. People like, I feel like people kind of mix on it. They feel like the wildness, like the drug elements are too clean or whatever, which I guess I kind of understand, but the film like feels like it feels fake in a certain sense, like a facade anyway. Like that's kind of what I thought the film was going for. It feels like very much like that. It kind of only enhances the film, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm gonna rewatch it again because it's just awesome. I just really love it. Yeah.
What did you give it?
Oh, big fat 10. Big fat 10.
Whoa, holy shit. Awesome. God damn. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Is it my sort of fear was it was just gonna, I don't know, I've got a bit of prejudice about this film. You're doing a lot for me here, which is great. But is it like, to what extent is it just like a 3-hour party sequence?
It's more of a rise and a fall type thing than a party. Like it does, the first hour and a half is a bit of that, and there is a bit of that kind of continues on, but it's kind of like diminishing returns on the party elements.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Like the film's very conscious about that kind of thing, and the film is almost just like about how Hollywood changed from that, I guess. So,
huh?
I don't think it's
okay.
I think it's yeah, I think the perception of it is a bit different, but it also is a lot of party. Yes, a lot of party.
Okay, but it sounds like, but it sounds like that it's very meaningful and deliberate and like directly related to the films.
Well, like one of the characters, the whole arc is about that kind of.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the actors are just great in it. Margot Robbie's kind of the wild character in it. She's like really great. Brad Pitt's like I thought from the trailers, I thought Brad Pitt was like a director or something in the film, because he's kind of spouting off like his vision for Hollywood and stuff. And he even does that at the start of the film. I think, he's like a director, but he's like a kind of like prime actor, and he's got a great arc as well. So. And the main character, I think this guy's like the main guy. The main guy is great as well. He's like roast of power is great.
Awesome. Okay, that's great. That's great. So I think my fear was sort of just that it was going to be like the whole thing was going to be like, oh, it's just a trip. Like it's just 3 hours of like crazy fun. Like the trailer sort of made it look like to me like it was just going to be like wackiness, like just crazy. Like, and it was just like you were either going to find it fun, you know what I mean, or not. Yeah. I didn't like the fact that you explained that sounds like really interesting. Like it's actually a lot going on.
I think
there.
like the first hour, 2 hours is that maybe, but the film is conscious of that, and it does. Cool. I think interesting things with that. Yeah,
interesting, very cool. Okay, I love that. I finished season 1 of Dark. Jane, where are you up to with this? Did you
same place that we were when you first brought it up a few weeks ago?
Yeah. So when I brought it up a few weeks ago, I had a few more weeks where I didn't watch anything more. And so, because at that time I was exactly where I was the first time, so I reached a point where I'm like, no, dude, I'm going to fall off this again if I don't push. So I pushed to get to a point where like I actually want to continue, and so I blasted through season 1, and it's a really, I don't know, it's a really interesting show. I like it. I really do. I'm still certain things about it I'm still struggling with a little bit, just getting into it, because and it's definitely a me thing. Because I think the combination of having the subtitles and also the mystery puzzle that the whole show is, it's so clear how well thought out it is. Like, there's no, I don't know how it ends or anything yet, but just by watching one season, it's so clear how deliberately crafted all the story elements are and all the clues, and it's all. I've got no doubt that's going to be satisfying because it's just so well planned already. But I just keep finding my brain, like, in the middle of scenes, I keep trying to, because there's clues everywhere all the time, I keep trying to, like, piece everything together and, like, make sense of it in the moment, where I'm taking myself out of scenes all the time, and it's bad. Like, I often have to rewind scenes because I realized I wasn't paying attention to what they were actually saying. So I need to, it's a mental thing where I need to, like, sort of shut off my brain and just let the story happen, and then can analyze it after or whatever. But I need to do that because it's messing with me real bad. But then I guess that's also a compliment to it, that it's like I sort of can't help but want to do that, you know. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's basically, now that I'm further into it, I can pretty confidently say and describe it as, it always had this this mystery component, this, you know, children go missing element to it. I would basically describe it as prisoners with time travel, is how I would describe Dark. It's that the cinematography and the look and the darkness and the way the characters are portrayed and the grittiness of it, like, it feels very Denis doing Prisoners in a very, very great way. But then, of course, it's like, let's take that styling and then let's make it a time travel story that's going to be a puzzle that's going to mess with everyone. Which just sounds, if that sounds cool to you, then it's exactly that, and it's great. So I would recommend it so far, but I'm just, I'm still going, so we'll see where it goes. Every single time, one of the main compliments I do have for the way the show progresses throughout so far is that it never rests, at least yet, it's never rested or taken a break or paused on its own logic building, if that makes sense. So the example would be, I think I can talk in vaguely, no huge spoilers, but basically the show does something where it'll introduce a new timeline. It's not like, so you have this understanding of the way it works, of the different timelines and the way the time travel works. It doesn't then, like, rest on that understanding for, like, a season, and then at the end of season 1, like, they do something to throw you off. Like, no, throughout the entire season, it's constantly evolving and changing your understanding of how this shit works all the time. Like, my perception of everything changes, and then, like, an episode and a half later, they add something else where it's like, holy shit, you're doing this, and then again and again, and it's like this could just keep going. Like, it's pretty insane how it just keeps leveling up on itself and its own rules. So I'm impressed by that. So yeah, anyway, it's good. Check it out, maybe. Jade, what have you been watching?
I mentioned it now once, and then we can talk about it again in 10 weeks' time. But this little show called The Last of Us dropped. Me and Liam spoke a few lines about it. I messaged you a few lines about it, That first half of the first episode was fucking amazing, in my opinion. That cold open into the whole prologue was awesome shit. Tommy, fucking Joel, Sarah, all brilliant. The watchmaker stuff, the whole build to it, I thought it was all fantastic. But then once you kind of reach that point, and then you get that 20-year jump taken out of it a tiny bit, it starts feeling a bit uncanny valley, where it just doesn't feel entirely right. I think I might have just way too high expectations for what HBO shows are now. I think, like, in my mind, HBO shows have always been the pinnacle, and they've always been borderline just immaculate in absolutely everything. So when I do see something that's slightly odd, I think I take it too harshly. But I do think some of the CG work, and some of the sets were a bit odd. Like inside the city, it was pretty much shot for shot of what the game is. But when it shows that outside perspective of like the kid walking in, and you have that, it feels like it's empty, and it feels like they were making up for. It feels like they were trying to make up for something missing by, I don't know, hyper focusing on some shit. You know, I don't know how to describe it.
You mean visually?
Visually, yes, visually. Druckmann said that there's going to be a lot of deviations from the game, but so far it's pretty much beat for beat, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of additions, but
is it? I mean, one character, right? No.
Well, there's just a lot of scenes and expanded perspectives.
So well, yeah. True.
I think that's more what he's talking about. Right. I'd be surprised if it takes any. I don't think it's going to take any story. I don't think it's going to make any differences in the story overall. Like, I don't think there's going to be a choice of character makes it different or anything like that.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. But we're going to see some Riley stuff and some Ashley Johnson stuff.
Right, and we're going to see like Billstown is going to be. There's going to be some stuff there.
Oh, more significant there. Okay.
Yes.
Right. But yeah, no, I think the whole thing was pretty solid. Except, I don't remember from the first game. Is this whole thing like waiting for Tommy to contact? Was that a real thing from the game?
No, it's
no.
New.
Okay, I was going to say I don't remember this angle.
No, yeah. So in the game, they just halfway through the game, they just think Joel just thinks we should just go to Tommy.
Yeah,
we should go to him. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he's never involved in the first act post time jump.
Yeah, that's what I thought. No, but yeah, I thought Craig did a fantastic job directing. I think he directed the episode. And I think the writing's on par with what I was expecting. And yeah, I just think there's a few visual and a few just execution things that I was disappointed by in like the second half of the thing. But no, I thought it was phenomenal. I can't get over that cold open. Actually, that cold open is probably some of my favorite television I've seen.
It's really cool. It's really cool. I watched it with my dad and loved watching it with him because it was just so fun to get that perspective. Because he first of all, the cold open threw me for a loop, as I'm sure it did everyone who knows this game. But he loved the cold open. He was like, immediately he just turned to me and said, "That was a great scene." I'm like, "Yeah." And then it was so funny when it cut to and it said 2003, and he said, "Oh, why is it 2003?" And I was thinking the exact same thing for a very different reason. You know what I mean?
But we knew that, didn't we?
Well, the game's 2013.
Yeah, but like it like someone revealed earlier that they made it 2003 so that the cut can be 2023, so it happens in the release.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
great decision actually. Yeah, I just didn't know that. I didn't know that ahead of time. So
okay.
But yeah, no, totally. Did you know, I was wondering, in that transition for the time, you said after the time jump it fell off a bit, were those things that you mentioned purely visual, or were there any pacing things there that you thought might have contributed to your feeling of that?
Well, I think it's pacing things, but I think it's same in the game of like the kind, in the game, I think that little sequence in the QZ is not my favorite.
Okay. Sure.
I think I've talked to you about it like a long time ago about like, the game for me didn't become fantastic until more than halfway through. So like I'm more than expecting to be taken out of some things in this early part of the season, but not because of it, the television part of it, but because of like part of the game stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. I just asked because highly recommend it. Because you know how shows, it used to be the thing where these big shows, they got their own talk show, their own after show.
Oh yeah.
They don't. Now the thing is that all the networks, they do podcasts, official podcasts for the after shows now. Highly recommend the official podcast because every week it's Troy Baker, it's Neil Druckmann, and it's Craig Mazin, and they just break it down. And they did it for this episode, and they talked about how this. He just hosts it.
Okay.
He's going to be in it later, but he just hosts it.
I was going to say, is Troy like the fucking mastermind behind the scenes that I don't know about?
No, he's like the interviewer, but also is obviously deeply involved.
Yeah.
But he and they brought up that this was 2 episodes. The season overall is going to be 9 episodes because this was originally 2 and they cut them together after. And the episode originally ended after basically right after the 20-year time jump.
This was a long episode, wasn't it?
It was an hour 20, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just wondering because they talked about how they felt like the ending just wasn't working because they were cutting to 20 years ahead and then sort of ending a little bit after that. and it wasn't working, and they just decided to smash this into one episode and to make sure that they can end on the Ellie thing. So I just thought it was interesting. I just wanted to know if that affected anything for you, but I thought it worked great. Thought it was a really good decision. I would have felt a bit weird about it being 2, I think, actually.
I think the performance-wise is kind of what we have to talk about, because everyone,
sure.
That's what everything's going to be. I thought everyone was fantastic, apart from like, it's not a major thing, but like it just feel like Bella Ramsey wasn't entirely there for me yet.
Oh, okay, all right.
But I think Pedro was phenomenal. I think Tess. What's the actor's name again?
Anna Torv.
Yep, that one. Yeah, from Mindhunter. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to look that up because she was so familiar, and that's what it was.
Yeah. I thought she did a good job as Tess. I think Marlene was fantastic as well. I think Riley was.
She's just the same. Marlene's the same actress. Yeah.
You can tell. I think Sarah was phenomenal. I think Tommy was great as well. I just think that there was a bit of something in Bella's performance. I think it's her accent. Her accent's not quite right to me.
It's one of those things where I agree, but I don't know if it's because I know what she normally speaks like, and I'm just hearing that in it. Like if someone had never heard her speak for real, like would they notice it? I don't know.
Did your dad say anything?
No, he didn't say anything.
I guess we're wrong then. Yeah,
I can ask him next time. I'll ask him next time. Next time she speaks. Yeah, for sure.
I feel like but just on top of it, just feeling odd, maybe because we're familiar with it. I think the accent kind of comes and goes a bit, doesn't it?
Can't tell.
No. Okay.
I couldn't definitively say that.
Right.
But it might. But did you feel that? See, I'm fine with it. Like, it's different. I'm just adjusting is sort of the way I would describe it right now.
Sure. Yeah.
I thought she brought something a bit different. Like, I think Game Ellie at this point is more like, she always has a bit of an edge, but she seems a bit more, I don't know, like this Bella Ramsey's performance feels a bit more like, oh, she's like a nasty teenager. You know what I mean? She's a bit more gritty. Like I feel like when she stabs the guy, like I know Ellie does stab the guy in the game too, but it feels like Ellie prior to that sort of feels a bit like, oh, you're a nice teenager who's also has to survive in this world. Whereas Bella Ramsey seems just a bit nasty. Like, damn, she'll fuck you up, you know? It seemed a bit different.
Sure, yeah.
I kind of liked it. Yeah. What do you think, Fitzy? You watched it?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. That was awesome.
Fantastic. Great. If we're all watching it, do we want to do it as a review in a few weeks when it's done?
A few weeks.
2 months? 2 months, I guess. Do we want to just... Yeah. I mean, we don't have to commit, but we can just throw it out there now.
I'd be down for that.
Now one TV show of the year.
Yeah. Get it out of the way early. Very cool. Well, I'm excited for Monday's episode because Neil directed it.
Is that his first time directing television? Or has he done something in the past?
First time directing anything live action.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'd be the same.
Does. Let's hyper-critique it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we can't talk about it then. If we're going to do it in 9 weeks' time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited for that. Yeah, I really liked it too. Now it's time for the segment where we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, what are your most anticipated movies of 2023? Luke came in right away and said Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. It's a good answer. Who else? Hang on, I gave that a 100 emote. Who else gave it that? I'm trying to see. How do I see? Oh, Andy gave it that too. Okay, Andy agrees. Cool. But Andy's actual answer, he said Indiana Jones. Need to watch that as well. Wait, shit, that's not his real answer. What am I doing? In honor of Luke's uni essay on Heat, I'm very much looking forward to seeing Ferrari from the one and only Michael Mann. Man. Oh. Andy, why'd you do that? Michael Mann. Man, don't we just love Mann? Oh, man. Anyway, whoever reads this, my apologies. Yep. Fitzy's probably going to claim that answer. We'll see. Hang on now. Aiden said, Barbie and Oppenheimer Day. Are they still coming out on the same day? I know that was the case a while ago, but I never double-checked if that's still the thing.
It definitely is in America. I don't know if it's going to be the same thing in Australia.
Good point. That's crazy. That's still weird. That's still crazy. Okay. Very, very good. That will certainly be a huge day for us cinema dorks. All right. Double feature maybe?
If it is same day, then I will do double feature, I think.
Yeah, but not on the show.
Oh, not on the show, no, but I'll watch it back to back.
It's a 3-hour episode by itself. Yeah, it's not. Fitzy, what are your most anticipated movies of next year? God, there were a lot of options I found.
Yeah. Well, I have to start with Killers of the Flower Moon. That one's going to be a banger.
Oh yeah.
I think it's like the first big Scorsese film combining both Leo and De Niro. So that'll be good.
I guess so. Yeah. It's
And
worlds collide.
yeah, I mean, I think I'm like pretty much. I'm a big fan of like his most recent stuff. So yeah, looking forward to that. Obviously.
Really big fan of Scorsese. That's strange.
Yeah, I know.
You don't really hear that too much.
You wouldn't have thought.
No.
Napoleon. I'm looking forward to that.
yeah.
Ridley Scott.
That's a good shout.
Dune Part 2. I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's like obviously we're all excited for all this stuff. I'm trying to think like what's like the most. What am I most? What is the
Most
What do you
personal
mean?
one to you.
most personal? Yeah.
If you could watch one of them today, which would it be? You know.
Well, I'm very excited to see the new Mission Impossible in a theater. I think that's going to be great. But I think Killers of the Flower Moon is still my most anticipated. I think, yeah. A bit of a basic bitch answer, but
No, I don't think so.
oh.
Dude, a basic bitch answer would be Ant-Man 3. All right.
Sure.
That'd be a basic bitch answer. Yeah, that's a good answer. What about you, Jaden?
New Wes Anderson this year is going to be big
Already? Okay.
in Asteroid
Good
City. The Killer, obviously, David Fincher, massive friend of the show, coming back.
Yeah.
I think the most individual one to me out of us three would be Luther is getting a feature length film this year.
That's awesome.
So I will gobble that shit up.
Is that gonna drop on Netflix?
I don't know actually. I no clue what's happening with it.
Okay.
But yeah, there's that. And then obviously the other big stuff. Some that I mentioned, some of the stuff, Transformers, John Wick, and all that shit.
Right.
Shin Kamen Rider looks banging. Actually, I will say that.
What's that? Sorry.
I don't know, some Japanese thing that fucking Kojima posted about a while ago, and I was like, oh yeah, it seems sick. And I was like, I'll hop on it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, wow, okay. I sort of expected there to be more crossover than there was because every movie you guys have said so far, except I don't know about the Japanese one, but all of them so far, I'm totally in agreement. Like I'm excited for all of them, but I got to say, like, there's no doubt, Oppenheimer's number one for me.
Oh yeah, true.
If I can see one today, that's my number one. But then yeah, John Wick 4 for sure, and then the other dude. Oh my god. Everyone's gonna be so sick of me talking about this. I'm sorry, but like it's the Mario movie. I'm so excited. Like it's unreasonable. Okay, but I'm pumped. It's definitely up there for me. Yeah, but goddamn, it's gonna be a hell of a year.
We're all neglecting the biggest film of the year, which is Zaddy's Rebel Moon.
That too. Yeah. Dude, see, I'm interested in that because I respect Zack Snyder. It could go either way. It could be I could hate it or I could love it. I've got no idea, and that's why I've got to keep an eye on it. Yeah, Jaden's gonna love it, isn't he? Jane, yeah, you're gonna love it.
Well, my track record with Snyder's kind of in the middle, I guess. So we'll see.
Yeah, are you sort of the opposite to me in that you sort of just find most of his stuff mid?
Well, I don't like saying I find it mid because because I think you see them as mid and I perceive them as better than you do, I guess. So I don't know.
I don't know. For some reason, I feel like as a director, I perceive him higher than his work.
Yes, no, 100%.
So I don't know why, but yeah,
I
think it's always because when I hear him talk, he's like really interesting and everything's really well thought out. But then when I watch these movies, I'm just like, yeah.
Like Justice League is arse, but anything else he's made, I can defend to an extent. I'll defend Army of the Dead, but I will never defend Justice League because it's arse.
Sure, yeah.
But Sucker Punch, I can even defend Watchmen to an extent. Man of Steel I actually like, and BVS.
I like Man of Steel.
So I guess I am kind of up and down with him, and that Justice League is just the real low.
Sure, okay. That's so funny though. He's like everyone would say that's like his magnum opus or whatever. I guess.
Yeah, everyone else is fucking idiots.
Okay.
Oh my god. Yeah, absolutely. All right. As always, we'd love you to submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comment section. Send us a DM on Instagram or join the Discord server. This week, the specific question we are asking you is, what is the best remake of a movie? That's it. What's the best remake? There's goddamn a lot of them. So Liam's, I can see him now. He's waiting for my answer to be The Lion King. He can't wait.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so let us know in all those places what your favourite remake is. Okay. That's it for this week's episode. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Fitzy, what are we doing next week?
We are returning to Channing Tatum. We're doing Magic Mike XXL, the sequel.
Yes.
So, Tarzan's going to be back. Fucking Channing Tatum's going to be there.
Yeah.
Amber Heard, everyone's favourite.
Amber Heard's in this movie?
Jada Pinkett Smith, also everyone's favourite. So,
Oh.
Yeah.
God damn. This movie's controversial. I didn't realise.
Get ready.
The other important distinction to make is, everyone, when you're watching this film, when you search it up, it's Magic Mike XXL. Not, I thought it was just Magic Mike XL, but they had to go an extra step.
Mm.
In honor of that, we're doing an XXL episode of 6 hours.
Strictly talking about the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god! And so, wait, did you say where people can watch it?
Foxtel and Prime.
All right. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Appreciate Jane and Liam being here as always. We'll see everyone later. Have a great rest of your week and goodbye.